Let's get some fucking music before we get out of here. Your thoughts, if you got a chance to skim through it at all, on the Exodus album by DMX. Great production, but from Swiss Beats, he kind of did the majority of it. So yeah, your thoughts on the run through? It's only like 45 minutes long. You can tell that most of the songs though were done when he was alive. So I appreciate that a lot, because sometimes, like, these things are like kind of forced, and it's like, well, now he's dead, so let's give him respect. So, because I remember even on the Drink Champs interview, he mentioned most of these features already being done. So that was cool. Yeah, your thoughts on the album itself?
Yeah, I had a chance to listen to it in its entirety today. Definitely agree. Swiss Beats was like the perfect producer for this project.
It had to be.
It just felt so natural. Honestly, I think overall for me, it wasn't like as inspiring as I had hoped. I think a lot of the features kind of overshadowed DMX as well. And in a weird way, in my mind, I was like, oh, maybe it's rushed because, he passed in the timing. But at the same time, like you said, it was created before he passed. So I thought that was kind of weird. Like it wasn't as impactful as I wish it had sound. And I know he passed, so part of me like really wanted to love it and be like, this is the best thing in the past 5 years or whatever. But for me, it was just kind of like a nice going away gift, but it wasn't anything that like blew my mind, like, oh shit, and reminded me that like he was one of the legends. It was just like a good project, and like a sad reminder he's not here, but it wasn't some like classic album for me, so to speak.
Yeah, dude, totally agree. I mean, remember, he's a 50-year-old rapper unless it's like Jay-Z and Nas, which again, kudos to them for both being on this album on Bath Salts. Like not everyone, once you get past 40, really has anything that's that fucking groundbreaking, right? That's why sometimes these rappers go into other things in their life, like business ventures or things to give back to the community. So maybe that triggers something, and they come back with another great album. Like kind of, I feel like Nas is at least Jay-Z's been a GOAT in music forever. But I think Nas kind of went away and then just came back with fucking heat, because he just had different perspective now of like really mastering like his business acumen, and that's coming through in some amazing way these past like 4 or 5 years, right? So I feel like, unfortunately, I don't think DMX is able to like do that because he's just battling his other demons, right? Like any time away from music, it seems from the outside that it was used to try to like really try to grasp like the shit he was dealing with. I thought it was an enjoyable album, right? Like, yeah, same as you, like, I'm not going to shit on this album by any means. You can still, he's a very talented rapper and has phenomenal production. But yeah, it wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't like, it didn't leave me saying, man, this is the last X album we're ever going to get. It left me saying, man, like, dude, like, good for him. This is a good body of work. And I think as a whole, we have enough DMX stuff that we can tell our kids and grandkids, like, yo, they were in the 90s through like the early 2000s. This guy was a fucking phenomenal rapper. Listen to these first 3 albums, like, bro, this guy was a fucking GOAT. But this was a nice farewell, and he was able to have like moments, right? Like the song "Letter to My Son," like that one really fucked me up a little bit, right? Because that one is him telling his son, like, yo, his firstborn son, like, yo, stop acting like a bitch, essentially, right? Stop acting childish. And then the hook is saying, like, Usher singing on the hook, like, there's always time to fix this stuff. And then, like, there's not, though. You know what I mean? Like, that one really hit me hard, because, like, the message is phenomenal. Like, there isn't always time. You know what I mean? And that's, you have to sometimes be okay with that, right? Like, I mentioned before on the podcast and to you offline, like, I'm grateful that me and my mom had issues that got resolved, thankfully, before she passed. Because I don't know how the fuck I'd be, this coherent and aware of life if that didn't happen. So I just pray that, him and his son were able to resolve whatever things they had, because yes, the goal is, we have time. I'm only 50, you're only 25 or whatever. We got plenty of years to figure this shit out. Bro, we don't know when that day is coming. So that song hit me hard, because there was like a great message behind it. And then, bro, the one with Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher, Benny the Butcher had a fucking line that said, I'm sunning all these niggas and I don't even know my own father, like something to that effect. I was like, bro, what the fuck? So like that was a dope moment in itself, like just the fact that it was on this album that he dropped like a very clever fucking line.
For sure. Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I'm sure at some point we'll probably get more body songs out of the catalog, since I feel like all these rappers have a ton of unreleased random verses lying around.
Yeah, like they say, like for, I mean, even Dub Work, who hasn't been around that long yet, you know, for like I think he said he almost like 100 songs for Up by 20. So like, you know, like there's plenty of stuff that didn't make it that you know, hopefully makes the next project. But I mean, just shout out to him. Shout out to his family. Like if this goes towards the estate, you know, and obviously I'm sure his hardcore fans loved every second of it. What I will say that I did appreciate, it sounded like a modern album. It didn't sound like some like old rapper trying to keep up with new school shit, because all the productions were very new school, but he didn't seem overwhelmed by that. Like, oh, I have to go a certain level to keep up with this Swiss Beats beat. Like it sounded normal. So I appreciate, like, it didn't feel forced. I kind of appreciate that.
Exactly. Yeah, same. I love that beat on the Lil Wayne song.
Oh, dude, that's fucking, yeah, dude, yeah. For sure. That's the, like, I was texting my boy, like, after the first 4 songs, like, you think this might end up being a classic because those features hit hard. I'm like, oh shit, like, yo, what's about to happen? And then, like, it just kind of, like, it doesn't live up to the hype of those first 3 or 4 songs. But again, it doesn't have to, bro. Like, again, it's a good body of work. By no means did this seem like rushed or like, you know, below par. Again, it wasn't just, again, similar to Drake, where we said last week, Drake's really just competing against himself. Again, dude, DMX set the bar very fucking high. So if we're comparing DMX to DMX, then yeah, it's not that, but it's still good.
Yep.
And dude, shout out to Jay-Z for, he mentioned that episode of The Shop that he won his first Grammy and didn't even show up because DMX wasn't even nominated.
Yeah, so you like boycotted it essentially.
Yeah, because DMX had 2 #1 albums that same year, and Jay-Z still won for Hard Knock Life. And Jay-Z like, yeah, I'm not going because my boy wasn't nominated. That's fucking dope.
Yeah, no, that's solid. I mean, it just goes to show you it's really about like what's pop. It's like the more popular song, arguably, or was that an album or a song, just a song?
No, Hard Knock Life Volume 2 was a full body of work.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like,
which actually had DMX on. He had DMX on that Money Cash Hose track.
Oh wow, yeah. So like, I mean, obviously those songs aren't pop, but like more pop verse compared to like what DMX was putting out.
Yeah.
I feel like that panel like just obviously wouldn't understand DMX's whole spiel or whatever.
Yeah, because think about it, this was a time before Jay-Z won that, the majority of the hip-hop Grammys went to like Will Smith or something, right? Like they're going from that to like then what became like the late 90s, early 2000s, which was like aggressive hip-hop. And then that became pop culture because like if you weren't doing that, you weren't being played on hip-hop radio. So
right, for sure.
But that was solid, yeah, for sure. Yeah, shout out to him, shout out to his camp. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely a good 40 to 45 minutes of your time. I know we want to.